We're from Fancy Tacker Crafts.
And we're going to show you how to get your craft on. Stranded colorwork is used often in traditional Fair Isle garments and is a beautiful way to bring in more than one color into your work. I'm going to use two colors to show you stranded colorwork. To join my second color, I'm just going to lay the yarn over my left hand fingers and give it some tension in that hand with my fingers, and I'll leave a good at least 6 inches of a tail so that I don't pull that through the stitches and I can weave in that end later. And then my yarn that's already joined to my work, I'll have in my right hand. I'm going to be working these stitches both continental and English style, and that way I'll have my yarns kept separate. One will be coming from the right and one will be coming from the left, and they won't get tangled together, and I can easily work the two different colors. So I'm going to start with my main color in my right hand and do a couple stitches with that color. To add in my second color, I'm going to pick the yarn from my left hand. Now I'll do 3 stitches between each of my white stitches. So I do 3 stitches with my main color, and then again I'll use the yarn in my left hand and pick up a white stitch. I want to make sure not to pull that float tight because that will cinch together my fabric. So you want to make sure it's a little bit loose as you're working it so that it doesn't draw the stitches between together. So I'll do 3 stitches with my main color and 1 with the secondary color. Oh, I only did 2 stitches. Back that up, do my 3rd stitch, and then a white stitch. And you can see my floats are a little bit loose back there. And that's great because it's going to allow my fabric to still have some stretchiness to it. So 3 blue, 1 white. If you have more stitches between your colors, for example, if I had 6 stitches of blue and then 1 of white, I might want to catch the float as I'm knitting to keep that from being caught on fingers, or if it's for a sweater, you might get your fingers caught on it or something if the float is too long. So you can catch those floats. I'll do 3 stitches of blue, and then I'll catch the white float in the back by going through the stitch and under the white yarn and pull the stitch through. You don't pull the white yarn through to the front, but you just catch the needle underneath your secondary color. And then I'll do a couple more stitches of blue, and you can see that it caught that float on the back of my work. I'll do a white stitch, and you can see that there's 2 floats, but there's not a white stitch in between. I'll show you how to catch the float again. So I'll do 3 blue stitches, and you want to catch the float about halfway between your white stitches. So to catch my float, I'll go into the stitch and underneath the secondary yarn and pull my stitch through to the front, and that'll just catch that float. And then I can continue working until it's time to do my next white stitch. Another tip for working color work to keep your floats loose is to work with the right side of the yarn to the inside of your fabric. And that way the floats have to go around the outside circumference of your hat or your garment that you're working. So if you find that your floats are getting to be too tight, you can flip your work and work along the inside. You'll still be working the right side of your fabric, but it'll just be facing the inside of your knitting in the round. And you'll work like normal. I'll do 3 blue and 1 white. When you're choosing which color to hold in which hand, the color you want to be more dominant in your fabric will be coming from the left. So here, since I'm doing basically little white dots here and there, I want to make sure they pop in the fabric. So I'm holding that yarn in my left hand, which will make those stitches a little bit more dominant than my background color. And I'll do another round so you can see what that looks like. And there you have some little dots of white in with your blue yarn, and that's stranded color work.